barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget the Patreon. The link's in the description box. Giving away 2 free tickets to Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and I'll send you a PDF file of my last book. Now, I saw something on my Instagram about someone screenshot. Is it shot it or shot it? Put in the comment section. Someone screenshot Charlo saying, "Show me more money" or "increase the contract," and also saw it. I haven't watched any videos, but I saw it on my notifications. I forget who did it, but I saw it on my notifications. It popped up on my phone, and I want to. That's the and also saw like people saying, "Oh, Charlo needs to go to the zone," but that's the knee-jerk reaction. I'm going to explain this to you as quickly as I can. Before you go and assume that the zone is where Charlo needs to be, you need to look at the landscape of, 160 and 168. You understand? So let's start with 160. Obviously, Charlo is next in line. He's the appointed one, right, per se, right? Now, the belt holders at 160 will be the winner of tomorrow and Canelo, right? And Devinchenko versus Daniel Jacobs. Now, whether you know it or not, Devinchenko and Danny Jacobs are two Al Heyman fighters. So, at the end of the day, Al Heyman is still his advisor. Eddie Hearn is his promoter. Okay. Now, when you think of advisement and promoter, think of Lou DiBella, think of Richard Schaefer. You understand where I'm coming from? So at the end of the day, I know off the appearance it comes off as if he's he's uh he's the Lone Ranger. He's out there on his own. But at the end of the day, Al Heyman is his advisor, and Al Heyman is Devinchenko's advisor. Now, moving forward, I saw the interview. I don't know if it was a lengthy interview or maybe it was 2 days ago or a day ago. It's all starting to blend in together. Where Eddie Hearn says, if you want to fight Canelo, you need to come over to the zone. Right now, before we get back to Canelo's belts at 160, now we got to take in mind Andrade has to win and Daniel Jacobs has to win if Daniel Jacobs is a part of the zone. I'm unsure if it's organic transition to the zone or did he already sign the contract. I don't know these things, but Daniel Jacobs has to win. And if Devinchenko win, then it's naturally a PBC fighter. Now, fast forward to Canelo. Canelo's fighting for the WBA regular at 168, right? Now, with that being said, Canelo is the champion, and he's getting a voluntary defense from the WBC, right? Now, follow me. And this is just me looking at the big picture, the really, really big picture. He has an 11-fight deal worth $365 million, right? So I think in my humble opinion, I think Canelo is going to dance between 160 and 168 in terms of catch weights, right? Whether he can find an opponent to fight in between 160 and 168. Now, what I believe may happen, and simply, this is just a hypothesis video. I have no inside information as relates to this at all, but I'm just using common sense, being pragmatic. Canelo is going to give up his 160 belts based upon what happens at 160 over the next 3 months. January 1st, he's going to have to make a decision, right? What's he going to do? Because he has a voluntary defense. I don't know how long the WBC give you. Obviously, they're going to grant him an extension, yada, 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 because it's Canelo, right? Now, 168 WBC belt, I believe, is vacant right now, right? And I know Benavidez is the champion in recess. Now, with that being said, they're going to force him to probably, not force him, but silently push him. And this is just me guesstimating, to have a voluntary fight just to see where he's at, right? They're going to push him towards that WBC. And what I believe may happen, I don't know who the number one, I haven't done no research on this. This is just me thinking things through on this subject. They're going to push Canelo to 168 WBC championship fight, Cinco de Mayo weekend, and he'll give up his 160 belt if they can find a formidable opponent that can draw. I don't know who it may be, who it will be. That's one scenario. Now let's take a step back and let's still look at 160 and 168 position from 50,000 feet, right? You have no emotional attachments to no variable involved, right? Canelo value is shrinking if you look at it. I'm not talking about how much money he's making. I'm talking about in terms of picking an opponent, right? If you look at it from 50,000 feet, now, either way how you look at it, he wins at 160. Andrade wins at 160. He's like the impossible game plan guy at 160, right? It's impossible to game, not impossible, but I'm saying he's the most intriguing guy, the most challenging guy you must prepare for at 160, right? He's awkward, he's this, he's that, you know. Now, the other side, Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs lost by 1 round to Triple G, and he is arguably the most formidable opponent at 160 for Canelo, right? Now, we have the winner of Jermall Charlo, December 22nd. They're fighting. I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but I think I told you guys 2 or 3 weeks ago that card was coming out, and I was just talking, and I told you guys 2 or 3 weeks ago about that card, and it slipped out my mouth now because I was just trying to explain something to you guys. But anyways, feel free. I'm pretty sure someone else will report who else is on that card. Now, Charlo has to beat Salicki. Salicki is a formidable opponent, right? Now let's look at 160. Now let's look at just 160. I don't know all the belt holders at 168, but I'm going to try and see if I can go off the top of my head. Now we have best case scenario, right? We're going best case scenario. We have Andrade, Jacobs, and Canelo holds the other two. Who would you want Canelo to fight Cinco de Mayo at 160? At 160, he would either fight Daniel Jacobs or he would fight Andrade. The most recognizable name is Daniel Jacobs. Now you got to take into account that's one hell of a fight. Would you put a $365 million guy in the ring for? Right? Now let's go to 168. I believe Uzataki, Jose, I don't know the young man's name, who's, I think his last name is Ramirez at 168. He's a WBO. Uzataki, I think, is the IBF. WBC is vacant. And James Nagel, right? I think James Nagel has a belt, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he's squared off to fight Chris Eubanks. Now, who would Canelo fight at 168 for a belt? You have Nagel, Chris Eubanks. Chris Eubanks and Canelo is an interesting fight in terms of making money. That's probably the least amount of risk. Then you have, well, let's say James Nagel wins. Or you have Caleb Plant, and you have, I'm assuming Caleb Plant beats Uzataki, right? And you have Jose Ramirez, or whatever that Ramirez guy at 168. The move would be Jose Ramirez at 168, in my humble opinion. Jose Ramirez at 168, or the WBCA finds an opponent to fight for the vacant WBC title with a promise to Jose Benavidez gets Canelo. But we know how that works. We know how the business of that works, and they'll push him to take some step aside money and, you know, fast forward, and they'll create a narrative, right? So if you're talking about leverage, who has the leverage in terms of who's in the best position? Should Charlo go to DAZN? Canelo 11 fight deal, $365 million. In my humble opinion, my humblest opinion, Canelo is in a tough spot. Canelo is in a very challenging spot in terms of defending his 160 belts. You understand? Because at 160, I don't know where you go. You know, the easy answer is the rematch with Triple G. But if he rematches with Triple G, the WBC can't sanction that fight. You understand where I'm coming from? It's right. If the WBC can't sanction that fight, they don't get a percentage of what the total purse is for that fight of their champion. So they're really in a conundrum in terms of, because Triple G can't move up the WBC rankings without fighting Jermall Charlo. So, and if you look at Jermall Charlo, he's in the best position possible because he gets to sit back and wait till January 1st to make a decision, because no one's fighting until January 1st anyway, in terms of after these 4 windfall of fights at the 160-pound limit. So actually all of them get to sit back and wait. But I think Charlo actually has the biggest advantage because it's going to be real challenging for Canelo. I think Daniel Jacobs would push for the Canelo fight, obviously. You understand? And Canelo secretly, in my humble opinion, Canelo secretly wants Triple G for the 3rd time, which makes sense because Triple G is declining. You can tell by his performances, he's declining as an athlete, as a fighter. So, and it does real numbers, right? So the option, I don't know what the option is, but I can literally see the WBC pushing Canelo to the 168-pound champion because they said in the article is something great about a Mexican and being a trailblazer. I'm paraphrasing. I'm just summarizing it. Jose Sulaiman paraphrased that he was excited that a Mexican is trailblazing and has the biggest contract in sports and entertainment. So this is just a scenario, and feel free to mix it up as you see fit. You understand what I'm saying? So, and take what I say, add your intelligence on it, and put it in the comment section, and we can have dialogue in the comment section. So, anyways, man, those are just my thoughts. Just looking at the entire field, as opposed to saying, "Oh, Charlo needs to go to DAZN and get a belt." I think that's a knee-jerk reaction because no one has to make a decision until the first couple of weeks of January, and it's October 19th. So we're so early in terms of making a move. Charlo's already has a December 22nd date. So at the end of the day, you understand what I'm saying? Everything is real preliminary. Everything is real early. I don't have no answers. I'm just creating scenarios. And so there we have it. So anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Who do you think has the most leverage right now? Do you think it's Charlo because he has no mandatories and is free to go anywhere he wants? Or is it Canelo? You understand? Just because he's the cash cow over at DAZN now. So who has the most leverage? So barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.